Welcome to the pop culture cosmos.
And we're back with another episode of the Pop Culture Cosmos. It's Gerald Glassford. Truly appreciate you joining us. Please make sure you give us that 5-star review wherever you get your podcast. Make sure you like and subscribe. Go ahead and hit that notification bell so you'll be notified when the latest Pop Culture Cosmos, Lakers latest, Lakers Fast Break, State of Pro Wrestling, PTC Multiverse, whatever I go ahead and put out there. Make sure we got you covered indeed by hitting that notification bell and liking and subscribing. And don't forget, again, the 5-star review really helps out the channel as well. But it wouldn't be a Pop Culture Cosmos without my good friend. It is, of course, the guy behind Happy Hoarder, the guy behind Humanity Media, the guy behind The Plucky Gamer, the guy behind so many great things, his own Medium stuff, his own great social media posts. I see him all over the place on little shorts here and there, all over the place as well. He is a social media icon. It is, of course, Josh the Great Peterson, and a collectible fiend as well. What's up, man?
What is up? That's right, a fiend. All right. I was talking to you briefly about the thing going on in the Pokemon world, and
And air gap, by the way. Eric got an air gap going on right now, but I can still hear you.
Oh, okay. Hold on.
You got that. So you
like
because the collectible,
man.
yeah, you got it right there. Good to go, my friend. Collectible issue. Go ahead.
Yeah, so Pokemon, the Americans have crashed the Amazon Japan website. So now they're instituting a policy in the big box stores in Japan where you cannot buy Pokemon cards from them unless you can prove that you are a Japanese citizen. And this is because the bots, the Americans using bots, like we have a real like this. I'm pretty sure that like this is the only country in the world that is having this problem right now, right? Because we have a bunch of people who just will not go out and get jobs, right? They don't want real jobs. They just want to drive to Targets and Walmarts all the time. And like even now out here in Waco, we have people at the local collectible stores. They hire out teams to go clean out these retail shops for them so they can bring the product back and resell it. It's disgusting, man. But yeah, so Japan, they're working to get rid of that problem. And then I saw that Target's actually instituting a policy where they're no longer selling to resellers. I don't know how they're going to enforce that, but what they're doing now is they're cutting open product, not obviously they're not tearing open booster packs, but like the boxes, like the ones that have different packs and stuff inside of them, they'll just slice open the side of the box so that you can't it loses all its resale value there. So we'll see. I think there are things finally being done by these stores to try to take the hobby back from the scalpers, but whether or not it holds, we'll see.
We will see as well, my friend. But again, I just mentioned to you as well here in the Las Vegas Valley, someone uh, stealing from a local card store. A lot of some Pokemon as well, just blatantly right there in front with him on full view on camera. So if he gets caught,
Yeah,
guilty. But yeah, so I mean, people, the brazenness which Pokemon is being stolen, being sold at, being bought up, and it's big business. And again, resellers. I don't know. I have mixed feelings on it, my friend, because we live in a society here in the United States where it is capitalism. It's uh, a thing where, again, where the economy is where we're at, and people are doing what they can to go ahead and try and get ahead in as far as they concerned. But the bots, I can understand the issue and the problem, and I don't blame the Japanese culture at all for the pushback against it. It's just here in the United States, I get it, I understand it. You talked to me about Target opening up the boxes and things of that nature to try and reduce the value of it, and I get that, I understand that, and I understand all these measures in place, but you also have to understand in a capitalistic society, especially in the fact that things are getting harder, jobs are harder to find, in this age here in the United States. People have to look to alternative ways to go ahead and try and earn a buck.
Yeah, so in yes, I think in some cases that's true, but like out here, like the problem is we've had a lot of like restaurants and stuff shut down because people don't want to work there. Like they want to go out and do things like scalp cards, right? Like it's an easy it's a ticket to easy street, and like that's the thing. That's the problem that we're facing, and like this all uh kind of happened. It was happening a little bit before COVID, but after COVID shut everything down, everyone's looking for, like you said, ways to make money. The problem just exploded. So, um, yeah, I mean, I don't know what you do at this point. Like, I was at Best Buy a couple weeks ago, and I saw a guy walking out, and as he's walking out of the store with an Ascended Heroes ETB, he's on Facebook immediately posting this thing for $30 over what he purchased it for. So it's like it's a really sad state of affairs. I mean, yeah, I get the appeal of making money, but like, are the cards made for the scalpers or are they made for the collectors and the players? Because this is the problem Pokemon's talking about, saying like, how are the Pokemon company is actually saying you cannot buy if you're a vendor with us, you cannot sell graded cards anymore because this is another problem. Is like the scalpers are now opening the packs, sending them off to get graded. So the players who actually like play the game can't get the cards anymore. So how, if they're putting out new sets and these players can't build new decks out of them, like what does that do to the market?
That theft in Shanghai Plaza, the suspect actually, who's on camera, threatened the workers with a taser.
Oh,
So at
nice.
what point do we start? They start wielding guns and they start using those guns. So I get it. I understand all
Stores-
for Pokemon.
Are these collectible stores are gonna have to start keeping their shotties behind the counter, man?
Exactly. Tell me about it. So,
What a sad
how can I
what a
help you?
Right. I mean, I understand liquor
Mhm.
stores, but what a sad state of affairs we're going to end up in when, you go to buy an action figure, a pack of Magic cards, and there's a 12 gauge hanging out behind the counter.
Would you like that Charizard or there you go.
Yeah,
Absolutely. Go ahead. Make
argue
my
this
day.
price with me. Right.
So we laugh about it now, but it's a very real possibility. So I understand it from Josh's aspect as well. It just something has to, I mean, and the makers of Pokemon, they're not going to do anything to devalue their own cards themselves. They want to still sell it in the quantities and the prices that they do. So they're not going to help in any of the situation. I was like, okay, I would like you to go ahead and make your cards less valuable so that it devalues and throws off the market. Would you like to go ahead and do that? Yeah, I don't think they're going to say yes as well. That's
No,
part of the
they're
problem as well.
Yeah, I mean, and they're actually well aware of what was it, MJ Holdings, and how they were keeping cards off the shelf to power their own like GT collectibles business that they started, and they were well aware that that was happening, and they're just sitting back watching the value of their cards go up. So it's all just lip service at this point.
Well, if you have any thoughts on the collectible world, especially with Pokemon and the craze of Pokemon, we'll keep reporting in from time to time as far as just how, I guess, serious the Pokemon industry has become. So if you have thoughts on it, please let us know, popculturecosmos@yahoo.com. But we got a great episode for you. Truly appreciate you stopping by. Again, thank you so much to all the subscribers. We keep getting new and more new subscribers to our popculturecosmos.wordpress.com site. So I'm really appreciative for that. And of course, to all the radio stations that still cover our show, indeed, and the listeners who follow those stations. Just cannot thank you enough for doing so. My friend, I can take a sigh of relief because in the world of film, in the world of animation, I've got a friend that works for Pixar. I visited Pixar Studios last year, and with them, there's always the hope that one of their new IPs could go ahead and break out. Hoppers is one of their larger, I guess, brand new IPs to come out in a while, but even that did not blow the doors off of the 2026 box office by any stretch of the imagination. I think it $350 million worldwide, which is again for an animated feature for that at Pixar's levels is again something that break even at best, per se. Maybe a little bit of a profit here or there, especially with merchandising involved. But they always have those old standbys to rely on, my friend. When the time is darkest, as far as what they throw out there that's new, that doesn't resonate with an audience, there's always those standbys that they can come back to every now and then that reaffirms Disney's faith in Pixar. And Toy Story is one of those IPs that they can come back to, my friend. And even a Toy Story that's maybe not the most well received, and even if you've heard from like 15 other people, Josh, that they should have ended it with Toy Story 3. Toy Story 5 came out this past weekend, and it is projected at the time of this recording, it's projected to come out and be around $160 million, I think, as far as it's concerned for the weekend domestically, making it the biggest hit of 2026.
Is that good though? I mean, 160 million is not, anywhere close to what
That's
Toy Story.
domestically. That's just in the US.
Okay, all right, yeah, because I'm looking at it right now, and it's sitting at 129 according to Box Office Mojo. So I'm just hopefully this has legs, man. Because I mean, Toy Story usually makes over $1 billion. So I'm just curious to see. Hopefully, this one has the ability to do that.
Well, worldwide, it should hit over 300 in this weekend alone.
Okay,
so it will start off with at least 300 million this weekend. So there's a good chance. I mean, it is the biggest opening of the year for 2026. So if you're looking at it from rate of inflation from the previous Toy Stories, it might be middle of the pack, or maybe even fourth or fifth on the Toy Story openings. But for 2026, it's the best opening of the year.
Yeah. Well, I mean, I want to see it. I don't know if I'll get a chance to see it in theaters, but yeah, everybody loves going back to Toy Story, man.
Well, let me hear your thoughts on this, because as the reviews come up, the film is geared, and this is no spoilers because it pretty much leads you into it with the trailers. Jessie is more of the main character, as a new lily pad iPad, voiced by Greta Lee, is the new nemesis of the toy crew in Toy Story 5. And I think also as well, Tim Allen's Buzz Lightyear character is there too as a co-star, but also dealing with his own issues with a box of Buzz Lightyears. The thing is also as well, I wanted to go ahead and mention is that Woody, voiced by Tom Hanks, the famous
balding.
Woody. Yes, balding indeed, doing stuff on the side, trying to save toys outside of the actual toy area that they're in right now. But out in the real world, he's trying to save toys from being trashed and being discarded forever and whatnot. And in doing so, he is played as a side character in this story. But in the trailers, you would not think that. You're still thinking he's a main character in this. But I've heard a lot of pushback as far as why is Woody in this at all. And my answer to that is, again, you still have those elements that are familiar to so many people. And I understand that Jessie is still the main character of the story, but I think a lot of people would not be going if Woody was not involved. Would you say that be somewhat correct? I know it's a bad way of looking at it, but I think that it would be a harder sell for Toy Story 5 if Woody was not involved.
Yeah, so what I had read about this was that Woody's story was largely concluded at the end of Toy Story 4, and so they were initially not wanting to ruin the closing that book, that he had a start to finish story of Woody. They didn't want to ruin what that was. And then the market got tested. They did a little bit of market testing on what people want from a Toy Story 5, and people want, you've come to expect the team of Buzz and Woody throughout the franchise. So it's hard to imagine a Toy Story that doesn't have Woody in it in some form or fashion. You know, like he's probably a sideline character because I imagine he got kind of added into scenes as opposed to being the main in the movie itself.
Okay. So with that said, I mean, and I don't feel bad. I mean, I don't feel bad or anything when it comes to that because I understand Pixar from a Pixar sense. They're still trying to go ahead and show Disney they're very much as relevant as ever, if I could say that right, relevant as ever in
Yeah.
regards to the fact that they're still, one of the premier animation houses in all of entertainment. And in doing so, they're throwing it's the safe play, Josh, that you have to include Woody in this. It's from a financial standpoint to try and maximize the dollar so that you're getting the kind of return you're getting at this weekend in, what, a $300 million plus worldwide box office. You have to bring those familiar elements back, even if, like you said, they effectively closed the door to Woody in Toy Story 4. In fact, they effectively closed the door to these characters in Toy Story 3 and did not really
Yeah.
need to bring them back in the first place. But as you and I both know, the lack of successes for the original new IPs that they've thrown out there over the past decade haven't quite really, been able to allow them to move on from what people have come to know and love about Pixar, i.e., the Incredibles, the Toy Stories, et cetera, et cetera.
Yeah, no, I mean, look at it, Disney's got this problem all over the map, right? With Star Wars and their we love the Empire stories, guys. But no, with Toy Story, it's definitely it didn't need to be made. No, I think they saw like an easy what do you call it? Like an easy story, an easy money grab where like, oh, we'll tell the story about the iPad. And I think that was like it was low hanging fruit and they went for it. But I mean, it all jokes aside, like people are I'm hearing like the average folk coming out of it are saying, yeah, it was a pretty good movie. So I Toy Story 4 wrecked me, man. But like I don't know. Hopefully this isn't like that.
Well, it's going to leave you. They always leave the sappy endings in there. That always brings the tearful endings. Let's just put it that way, my friend. So you and I both know that we're going to have a sappy ending that's going to bring a tear to our eyes when we watch this. It's no question about that. I mean, that's Pixar. Pixar has a formula with Toy Story and some other of its film, Inside Out, et cetera, that it just follows and it knows that it works. And so it's
Yes.
going to do it again. And even if they do it, maybe not at the level of brilliance that they brought out in Toy Story 1, 2, 3, they're still able to go ahead and bring you a decent Toy story and be able to go ahead and still put it out there for the masses. So I can't blame them for doing this. I can't blame them for bringing it. I can't blame them for hitting the well once again. And I
Yeah.
can't blame them for hitting the well 4 years from now, or 4 years or 5 years from now when they bring out Toy Story 6. I mean, people still want to see the adventures of Buzz and Woody, and it looks like it will still be, because I just don't know how they're going to get there, but I'm pretty
Yeah.
sure Disney will want them to get there somehow.
Oh, yeah, no doubt, about that. But yeah, and will this be the last one? We'll see, man. It's hard to tell for sure.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, I even if they tell you it's the last one, I still don't believe it because again, their original IPs, no matter how well or not so well they're critically received, they just don't resonate with the fans like Toy Stories, Incredibles, the as far as their long list of IPs that have been successful, they've just not been able to create or consistently continue with this kind of success with their newer IPs as they have with their older IPs. And so with that said, you still got to keep the lights on and you still got to make sure you generate money to keep the lights on. And doing so, they're going to be leaning more or continuously, as long as they can, on these older IPs so that they continue to bring out newer IPs that may once again or possibly resonate with an audience. At some point, there's got to be a big hit from a new, I think from Pixar, that's got to be an original IP that's going to resonate huge with audience. It's got to happen at some point.
Yeah, it's gotta. I mean, but this is the problem in cinema in general, right? Is like there are no movies for Gen Z, right? Like Gen Z has yet to have like an original property that is going to echo throughout the next 20 years. Like everything that Gen Z is watching is a sequel to things that either came out when I was a kid or when Gen X was a kid, or even thing Disney's even making things that came out when boomers were in their 20s and 30s. So it's a definitely a definitely an issue that needs facing at some point, and there will be a reckoning.
Yes, there will be a reckoning indeed. I'm going to say this, Josh. You and I both saw during COVID, or basically, it was still pretty much in COVID. Turning Red was put straight
I
into
like that
Disney
one.
Plus.
That was good.
That was a huge hit on Disney Plus. I think that if that had been released, like let's say last year or something like that, or this year, I think that would have been hit. I think that is the original IP that they've had in recent years that would have been a mess. Because I think that's a really good movie that resonates. It's culturally based, but it's still something that I think that would have resonated with a worldwide audience to the level I think of some of the other movies. I don't want to say like a Toy Story 5, but at least would have made substantially more than what Hopper's made, which is one of the largest original IPs in some time for Pixar. Do you agree or not agree?
No, yes, I definitely agree. I was actually really curious about the movie Hoppers. I did not know that. I didn't even know that like came and went from theaters. In my mind, I was like, oh, it's going to come out here soon, and nope.
Yeah, it came out in March, early March, for the, I guess, of course, obviously just before the Easter holiday season. But I just think Soul, I don't know, maybe that would have resonated with audiences. Onward, again, that got impacted heavily by the pandemic as well, because that had just been released into theaters. That was one of the last major releases before COVID hit. So we really don't know if that one would have resonated as a hit or not. But I do think Turning Red, had that been put out into theaters, I think that would have been the one that would have actually generated a lot of interest. But again, guys, just that you know what's going on with the box office. Oh, one more note to you, a couple more notes actually. Disclosure Day looks like it's suffering the usual big fall that a lot of blockbusters do. Is suffering a almost 70% drop in its second weekend for Steven Spielberg's Disclosure Day. Again,
What is the
Spielberg,
deal? I'm hearing different stories about this movie. What's going on with this thing?
what do you want to know?
Everything. Like what's the why do people not like it? Why is it not resonating? Like what are your thoughts on this, man? Obviously you've thought about this.
Well, I have. And first off, nobody seems to be disagreeing about Emily Blunt's performance. It's a great film from this acting standpoint from Emily Blunt. She has been consistently praised across it. And if you see it for one reason, see it for her. The thing was, though, I think the screenplay leaves a lot to be desired as far as the way that they set things up in the movie. As far as again, it's the race to get the entire public up to speed on what actually has gone on as far as aliens, being in among us as far as it's concerned, or interacting with us as humans. And Disclosure Day is actually the disclosure of that, but then the government trying to stop that from happening, et cetera, et cetera. It's a not an original tale in that sense. We've seen government intervention movies and stuff like that before. I mean, as far
And
as
government intervention in real life, man. We know.
yes, yes. So with that said, I just think that it's a tale that it's a decent movie, but the problem is you can't have just a decent movie brought out anymore and have sustainable legs unless it has the major promotion and backing of a studio behind it. And Universal, I don't think they put this out there. They're longtime partners with Steven Spielberg. I just don't think that they actually are putting their best foot forward on this, and they put this in the middle of movies that and in middle of a summer movie set slate that send it out really to die. It's something like what we've talked about with Sony and PlayStation over the years, where if they're not fully like Soros. Soros was brought out earlier this year, got little to no advertising from PlayStation itself, and literally just sent it out to die in the middle of a actually a kind of a busy game market season at that point in time. And the same thing here. It just seems like, okay, we're placating to Steven Spielberg. We're bringing out a summer movie. It's got a decent story. It's got a decent hook to it. It's got a great performance in it, but it's still something that I think we're going to go ahead and spend much more money on Minions and Monsters, which we know will generate cash flow as far as it's concerned, instead of allocating and making sure that Disclosure Day gets the right platform for success or every chance for success. And I don't think Disclosure Day did. I think Disclosure Day is a decent movie that is probably not going to get the kind of love that it ever will get, being that Steven Spielberg is not as familiar to people younger than us than he is to us now. I mean, Steven Spielberg is the maker of films that your dad liked, your mom liked, your grandma liked, your
Right.
grandpa loved. You
A
know,
weird concept.
it's the reality, Josh. It's the reality
Yeah.
because Gen Z and Gen Alpha, you don't have films with Steven Spielberg does not resonate with them.
No. And I think too
Guess
that
who
like,
does though? Guess what does? Obsession and Backrooms. That resonates with them.
oh, for sure. Yeah. I mean, this is the future of movies, but with Disclosure Day, I think they made a pretty like grievous error in how they marketed the movie. They marketed it as a statement instead of a film, like with Spielberg going, yeah, what if we tell people that yeah, these things do exist? Like, yeah, that it's I had this conversation with my brother the other day. I think that I was like, the problem is that there's so many things coming out that are too closely mirroring reality, and people are going to the movies to escape reality. Because I mean, look how weird the world is right now, right? So people aren't going to movies to enjoy a fantastical spin on reality. They just want to depart from it completely. And this is like we're getting all the UAP files and all this from the government, right? Like, yeah, we have a pretty good idea that there is something out there. We don't need this like marketed to us as like a secret UFO file drop. We just want to watch a movie, like don't market it as a movie, and it might be a little bit more successful, but everybody's trying to make a political statement these days. I think that's where the error was in this film's marketing.
Yeah, and again, it just the amount of dollars, the amount of tension, you could tell Universal is not. They're already advertising, Josh, for weeks now for Minions and Monsters.
Yeah,
they're putting all their chips in Minions and Monsters. They put like a couple chips in. It's like a player at a hand, at here in Vegas. They'll play, and there's one that got a hand. It's a decent hand. It's not a great hand. It's a decent hand. So you're not going to put in all your chips in on that one unless you're going to bluff. If you're going to bluff, you're going to try to bluff. Good luck. But if you want to play it safe, just put in a little bit as far as marketing is concerned. No problem, no problem. But I've got this great hand that comes up two hands later, and it's the killer hand, or it's a hand that's a really strong hand. I'm going to invest more money into that. I'm going to invest more time into that. I'm going to invest more ad space into that movie than I would for Disclosure Day.
Yeah. And that's a fair it's a fair point, right? And Steven Spielberg, like he's kind you're right. He is kind of like, I think, sort of past his time, but
he's almost 80.
Yeah, I mean, him and Ridley Scott, man. I mean, Ridley Scott Spielberg puts out things occasionally, produces a lot of stuff, but Ridley Scott's like in that director's chair, rapidly approaching 90, man. So I mean, like,
or executive producing stuff and et cetera, et cetera. He's throwing his name around still.
Yeah, exactly, man. Speaking of Universal, you see they're opening this what do you call it? They're opening this theme park out here in Frisco. This is a couple hours away from us. That has actually a whole themed Minions land.
Guess I know where Josh is going. There you
Yeah,
go.
I mean, it's there's not a lot of places out here. I'm sidetracking here, but like, there's not a lot of places out here like that in Texas. Like that back in California, you'd be like, oh, I'm gonna go to Disneyland, or like if you live in Florida, you have your whole, take your pick, man. But like out here, there's like nothing. So it's nice to have Universal be like, oh, maybe we'll throw some love out to Texas. All right, guys, thank you. I got something to do with my kids finally.
So, what are your thoughts out there on the success of Toy Story 5? And again, like Josh says, Universal allocating its resources in regards to Disclosure Day and upcoming Minions and Monsters. So, we will see if that pays off for Minions and Monsters. But Disclosure Day with the big drop, like a blockbuster drop, 70%. That's a Marvel drop. It's right in and around that type of deal, 65 to 70%. So that's not too surprising, but was hoping that would have a little bit more legs. But Toy Story 5 with the biggest opening of the year domestically, and I'm going to assume at this point in time, because haven't gotten the final numbers out yet, but we're still talking probably over $300 million at least. So $300 million worldwide for an opening, one of the biggest, if not the biggest, of 2026. Are you surprised that Woody and Buzz, they still seem to generate and resonate with audiences? So please let us know your thoughts, popculturecosmos@yahoo.com. Because it's funny, just we talk about one thing that Steven Spielberg that has not resonated with audiences, younger audiences, and we see something that still does. Amazing how that is.
Yeah, interesting.
It is, of course, Josh the Great Peterson, along with me, Gerald Glassford. Thanks again for watching, listening to. Truly appreciate it. Josh, before we get into Spider-Man Brand New Day, the trailer that just came out, GTA 6, which is getting closer and closer to pre-orders, the official date 6/25, and I'm sure a video will you got to assume a trailer's coming then. I want to go ahead and talk about Xbox because coming off the success of the showcase, which you liked, I actually really liked in regards to it, what they showed off there. Asha Sharma had a statement and made a statement out, and I read it on
Yeah.
a previous episode in regards to how the business was, and business obviously of Xbox wasn't doing good, but this has led to some really big news in regards to possible studio closures or negotiations on buyouts to become independent once again for studios like Compulsion Games, Telltale, also as well the makers of Senua as well. Those all those studios and more could possibly be affected. Plus, layoffs are pretty much assured as well on the way. So, with that said, why didn't they do this beforehand, before coming out with the showcase? I get what they're talking about with Ninja Theory and Senua. Maybe their thinking on it was trying to make it attractive for Ninja Theory to be bought out as a studio by someone else. So they showed their latest workout. But why didn't they just put out the bad news before they bring you with the good news? It seems like they brought out the good news before you bring out the bad news. I don't get it, man. I just don't get it.
Yeah, I am of the mind here where they were like, we need to come. I don't think that that internal memo was meant to ever get leaked to the
Oh,
press.
that stuff is guaranteed to leak. She's got to be
Yeah,
aware of that.
yeah, she's a little bit gullible. She thought that that was going to stay internal. So I think they were just trying to get people back on track with Xbox, and then this happened, and now I really hope Ninja Theory doesn't get bought, because like I love those Hellblade games. I've been hopeful for another Devil May Cry remake coming from that studio, but the thing that sucks here, Gerald, is that like they have so many studios. Like Xbox bought up, I want to say probably a good 70-80% of the gaming industry. Would you say that percentage is off
Yes.
at all?
Oh, but
So
at this point, maybe at the time, but now I think there's just a lot of as we saw
oh
with Jeff Keighley's Summer Game Fest. There's a lot of
yeah.
studios in and about themselves, doing some things on their own.
Yeah, yeah. So, but it sucks though, because like, I don't think that that internal memo was meant to ever get leaked to the press. So I think they were just trying to get people back on track with Xbox, and then this happened, and now I like I really hope Ninja Theory doesn't get bought, because like I love those Hellblade games. I've been hopeful for another Devil May Cry remake coming from that studio, but they're talking about, we have these different possibilities, right? Like you could have Xbox could be broken off from Microsoft and sold to somebody, and that could be good, right? If somebody has the money to buy something from Microsoft, which I don't know what world we're living in where that seems like a possibility, but if somebody takes over Xbox and they just basically focus on making consoles and video games, or do they become like Sega did and just start putting things out on other platforms? But then like all these studios are saying they're giving them a chance to buy their freedom. But who has the money for that? Who has the money to buy themselves their freedom from Microsoft? Like that's
I mean, the makers of Destiny did, Bungie.
yeah, but I mean that was because they like actually put things out that were good. A lot of these studios, like Microsoft has basically delayed a lot of their projects and told them they couldn't do certain things. And now most of these studios have not put out anything successful because everything's been going out to Game Pass. So they're not really seeing a lot of revenue from that stuff. So they've kind of like really screwed themselves, man. It sucks.
Is Game Pass, how big is Game Pass in this equation? Because again, Obsidian Entertainment as well could be probably a studio that's affected by it, because they have had several projects which have had middling to underwhelming success. As much as I like Avowed, it didn't do huge, and The Outer Worlds 2, which was hyped up, didn't meet anywhere near expectations
And
on
that
a
franchise,
multi-platform deal.
yeah, they said that
Yeah.
that franchise is done. Forza, the mainline Forza games they're saying that they're not going to be making any more of those. It's going to be Forza Horizon only. So that's
Yeah.
kind of a bummer to me too.
Your thoughts, my friend? How much does Game Pass, as far as come into this equation?
Well, I toot this horn all the time though, man. Like I think that the leaving the physical media realm was already like not a great idea. But yeah, with Game Pass, people aren't buying the games, so you're not seeing revenue come in from these purchases. You're in Game Pass, or Microsoft has not been forward with like the numbers of like how much are studios making per game from Game Pass, how much are they making. I think they said that they were actually still waiting for Game Pass, the investment in Game Pass to catch up with itself. So I don't know, man, but it just seems like if people aren't buying these games, what's happening with that revenue? Like, what is this? Is this why Xbox was in such dire straits?
I can just tell you again, this goes back to our discussions we've had over the years as far as the poor marketing, and poor. It's one mistake leading into
Yeah,
another mistake, leading into another mistake. I think again, it started off with what happened back many years ago with Xbox One and how it was presented, and the words by Don Matrick at that point in time, basically dooming that console, and the actions as far as concerned, attaching the Connect and forcing people, and the always online deal as far as that's concerned, that whole thing where PlayStation, they pounced on it at that E3 over a decade ago, and basically and essentially killed that generation. But with the Xbox Series S and X, the Xbox Series S and X had a chance to be something, especially with Xbox Series S coming in at a very budget price point that PlayStation wasn't matching, and the Xbox Series X also coming in at a good value at that point in time, under $400 in some places. I got mine for under $400 brand new. And being that, as it may, it came in with the same kind of power or in the general range of the PlayStation 5. They did not market this well. And it also had a launch where a lot of problems started for Xbox. They just weren't prepared. Their studios weren't prepared to put out quality, interesting games exclusive to that platform when it first started. So they were already behind the eight ball when this started at the beginning of this decade. And since then, it just became a worse and worse and worse situation. But the PlayStation 4 generation migrated to an extent to the PlayStation 5 generation that actually wanted to spend the money and do so, and they didn't cross over to the Xbox Series, making them almost a null and void prospect. And just however good a value earlier this decade, Xbox Game Pass was, again, the way they marketed it, they didn't market it. They didn't mass market it. They didn't bring out this or show how good a value the Xbox Series S, the Xbox Series X, and Xbox Games Pass. They didn't get across to the average consumer how good a value this really was, and ultimately pay the price for it.
Yeah, yeah, I absolutely agree with you. And the and the fact that, oh my gosh, sorry, man. They were talking about how the what was it, sale? They lost like they had a 30% drop in like subscriptions after all the price hikes. Was it that, or was it maybe the number was more than that? But like, yeah, it was that was a service that I don't really think they truly understood, the long-term prospects of.
No, no, they just never got it. They had a good thing and a good idea and a good concept, but you have to execute on that concept, and they never did. And they
Yeah.
just assumed that it was going to become the Netflix of gaming, and they didn't do enough to promote it or remind audiences or gamers why they needed to have it. And again, when it came down to it at that launch, the games, if they had, it's just so weird because in the timeline, if they had the studios come at you with the quality of games they did now, back then at the early inception of the Xbox Series S and X, they could have had a much better contention as far as the overall race is concerned for this generation, because PlayStation 5 has, constantly let down its own, player base with lack of good or consistent first party games.
Yeah, yeah, I that is something we've seen recently, right? Like even this like state of play that just happened, like there wasn't a lot of really like cool things coming out of it, right? We had like the God of War game looked all right, but yeah, I mean they have not it's been a slow year for them. And it's Xbox has put out a couple great things, but it's not we're far from the glory days, man.
Indeed, indeed. It's getting harder and harder to be a gamer, my friend, because we're seeing a lot of problems go through, and a lot of problems are facing Xbox right now with a lot of major decisions being made. But man, just the timing of it. And Asha Sharma, I understand that she was dealt a bad hand. I
Yeah.
get it. I understand it. And both you and I recognize that. But I would have gone through the bad first. I would have cleared all this bad stuff, all the memos, all the decisions on which, uh, you know, studios you keep, which studios you don't. I would have gotten rid of all that bad stuff upfront,
Yeah.
upfront. And then you bring people the good news with the showcases and what's on the way, so that people can now then say, you know what? Okay, Xbox may be coming back. But yeah, it just seems again that Xbox is doing something in a backwards fashion, and it really just you reap what you sow if that's the case.
Yeah, well, now they're saying too they're gonna fast track. They're like, we need to fast track Halo, and there's another game that they're gonna fast track, and like
Elder Scrolls.
Elder Scrolls. Yeah, I mean, do we necessarily like? So it makes you
Can't
ask
wait
this.
for the jankiness on Elder Scrolls. Yeah,
Yeah, well, and that's the big question. Were these games taking so long because they were like truly putting time and effort into perfecting these things, or was it just that were they backburnered for cheaper options?
we'll find out, my friend. But
Yeah,
yeah, not the greatest of news we wanted to hear. And we don't even know if Project Helix is going to be still a thing. And because she, in that memo, if you remember, she talked about the considerable price hikes for components for making these consoles, which again, that's still another problem. We talked about the collectibles market and the Pokemon issues. There's still the issues also as well with AI and all that, skyrocketing the
yep,
price of, basic fundamental things that these computers and components for a lot of modern day technology actually needs.
yeah, yeah, exactly. And then that's a big thing too. They're like how they talked about how they know they need to keep things cheap for the modern gamer, but how are they going to do that? I mean, they're making big strides in we had the Unreal 6 tech demo come out, right? And they're talking about they're making real big strides with graphics and technology, but if you can't get that technology, how do you continue to make strides without charging gamers, $1,000 per console.
We will find out, my friend. But again, it's very interesting to see what's going on with Xbox. Not a lot of good news right now after some great performances, great showcases, and great looks ahead at what games are coming up for the Xbox. There's the bad side of it as far as I guess what was the source that they had in some of these stories saying that what looks great critically wasn't great for the balance book and wasn't great for the balance sheet. I'm paraphrasing here, but those studios that create these critically lauded games that don't do anything to move the needle financially, those are the ones that are most at risk. So the Telltales, the Obsidians, the Compulsion games, the Ninja Theories, those are the ones that are right now really getting close to whether or not they're doing some sweating right now. They're not
Yeah.
officially closed, but yeah, their future may be in some despair indeed. So, what are
Yeah.
your thoughts out there on what's going on with Xbox? I know we seemingly touch on it so much on every week, but it is something near and dear to our hearts, and they keep on making news, so we keep on having to report it. So, go ahead and let us know your thoughts on the state of Xbox, popculturecosmos at yahoo.com. But before we head on out, my friend, did you get a chance to see the new and latest trailer for Spider Man Brand New Day?
I sure did. I got a lot of a lot of questions about what's going on in the movie. It was very do we have two villains? Like, wow, how does this work out? Because Spider-Man, historically, these Spider-Man movies are not able to responsibly handle more than one antagonist. So what is happening in this trailer, man?
It looks like we've got a mini boss and a big boss, if you're to use the video game vernacular on that, man. As
Yeah.
far as what I'm seeing, a Scorpion who makes his return from previous films gone by, actually over almost a decade absence, as far as it's concerned, with the Scorpion returning, and then the mysterious new character, which most
May or
people
may
are
not be
speculating
Jean Grey, yeah.
yeah, for Sadie Sink as Jean Grey. So, and then of course, adding on to that, the fact that someone or something entity, which I'm assuming could be Jean Grey, is manipulating the minds of people across New York, and then also adding on to that, somehow the monitor for Hulk has been taken off, and he now becomes a thorn in the side for Spider-Man as well.
Yeah, yeah. And then we have Frank Castle, right? We're doing his
Mhm.
so I'm curious about the end of this. And then we have Peter is mutating, right? Are we going to be seeing the notorious man spider version of Spider-Man? Like what's going on here?
Exactly, getting the dark-eyed treatment. "Ooh, what's going on with me?" And I was like, then he
Yeah.
becomes like the super, badass, evil, um, I'm almost evilish type Spider-Man, whatnot, and the Foot Clan, the Ninja Clan is after him as well,
So
so
and that's a big question too. Like what are they doing in there? They are Daredevil villains. So what has brought them to New York and how do they have them in there without having Daredevil in there?
so I think what you're trying to tell me and what you did it to preface this conversation, this part of the conversation is there's a lot of elements that we saw in this trailer, which means there's a lot of elements that need to be developed in this movie. And I think, and the
Mhm.
question is during a 2-hour movie, thereabouts, do you think they can handle and balance juggling them all?
No. No, I mean, we've seen this we saw this with the Ramy films, right? We can't have Venom and Sandman and, whoever else in the movie
I
and,
think you're referring to Spider-Man 3, if
yeah,
I'm
the
not mistaken.
Sam Raimi Spider-Man 3, right? We had 3 villains. We had Hobgoblin, right, in there, and then Amazing Spider-Man, that movie just, like, put Spider-Man on the back burner for a while. Then Amazing Spider-Man 2 came out, and we had, Harry Osborn, we had Electro, and they're trying to set up the Sinister Six. Too many things happening. So, will this movie be able to pull it off? I don't know, man. I don't have faith.
I'm concerned myself. I just didn't like the music as well. The music gave me bad vibes. I was talking to one of my daughters who's a big Spider-Man fan. I was just telling gave me I'm still gonna see the film, but it gave me some really bad vibe. I just it was like Doctor Strange-ish type
Mhm.
movie music to it, and it didn't fit. It didn't
Yeah.
fit to that. I just again, that was just me. But if you have thoughts on the latest Spider-Man brand new day trailer, please let us know at popculturecosmos@yahoo.com or down below in the comments indeed. But before we head on out, GTA 6, my friend, is coming out with pre-order. Speaking of spending your money on something, GTA 6 is coming out as far as pre-orders on the 25th is the official date. And I'm assuming they're going to show us more than a map of Vice City because they put out a huge map of Vice City announcing that the pre-order date was coming up on the 25th. I hoping that they'll go ahead and do so. I'm assuming that they'll do so. It's tradition now with movies, the day that the tickets start selling pre-order tickets, or in video games that they do that as far as the pre-order official date is concerned. So I'm assuming they're going to put out a video here on the 25th. And if that's the case, my friend, are you expecting something to overwhelm you? Because this is supposed to be, by all intents and purposes, in that which Rockstar will try to promote coming up on November 19th, I believe it is. If that's the case, that it will be the biggest entertainment launch of all time.
Yeah, I mean, I'm expecting a trailer. We haven't seen, like, even, like, a
I think you'll get
teaser.
it on the 25th is what I'm thinking.
Yeah. But so someone asked me this question. I was talking. I made a video the other day about Halo Campaign Evolved being picked up by scalpers, right? The MSRP'd at $199 and scalpers are selling for $700. And somebody in the comments brought up how they think this is going to happen to Grand Theft Auto,
Oh,
not
yeah.
just not just like the collector's editions, but like all editions of Grand Theft Auto. Like people are going to just buy them up and resell them. We're going to see this like $70 game being resold for, $100, $120, $140, whatever. Like the sky is
Question
the
is,
limit.
will it be a $70 game? Because many people are believing that it'll start off at $100.
I don't know why they would do that. That's foolish because, like, again, we're a very poor very poor clientele in this video game market. So I don't know why they would do that, but that anything's possible, I guess. I mean, I guess it
Who are
depends
we
on like
talking?
what.
Who are we talking about? 2K. We're talking about 2K here, my friend.
Yeah. Yeah, I guess it really just depends.
Microtransaction kings of the entire
This
planet.
is true. This is true. I guess it really just depends on like how many different editions are they putting out? Do we have like the simple tier, middle tier, and high tier version of the game, or is it just going to be one version that everybody gets?
I would like to know myself on that, but in fact, we will have an answer most likely on the 25th. So we'll bring you our thoughts on that as the video comes out, and then of course the feedback, the early sales indications, and things of that nature. But is supposedly, and I'm sure 2K will try to tweet it out that it'll be the biggest entertainment launch in the history of entertainment and all that. But I'm assuming it's gonna. I'm going to say, even though the console, the player base, if they don't bring it out on PlayStation 4 and Xbox One, the player base, the player count is because the PlayStation 5 and Xbox Series, and since they're not putting it on PC and most likely not on Nintendo Switch 2 right away, and not most likely PC not right away, the player base is less than what they're used to dealing with at any point in time in their history. So it just seems like the math is going to be harder this time around to create. I still think it's going to be $1 billion launch. I still think it's going to be $1 billion within the first day or two or whatnot. I don't think that's in question because again, when you're selling $70 to $100 stuff plus whatever it is, extended editions, etc., I still think it's
Yep.
going to make a lot of money. But to what point? I don't think you will see 100+ million I don't think you will see it top the sales of GTA 5. Is that what I'm saying? By when all is said and done.
Yeah, it's a completely different landscape now than it was, when GTA 5 came out, or what the last, what was it, last GTA 5?
Mm-hmm.
yeah, it's a completely different landscape now than it was back then. So it will definitely be interesting to see like what happens with that. But yeah, I mean, I'm really curious to see uh what happens with the scalping situation and how many people buy this game at launch. How many people are going to go out and buy consoles specifically to play this game? Are we going to see this might be the only case where we see a rapid spike in console sales because a game is coming out. Like it's the possibilities are endless, man.
They are indeed, but we will go ahead and have it covered for you. But the date to pre-order Grand Theft Auto 5 comes here in a few days, and we'll have the feedback from it for you right here at Pop Culture Cosmos, indeed. But before we head on out, my friend, it is time once again for an MCU review. So where are we at with the MCU in a review and a countdown to Doomsday? Oh, how about, can we call it Doomsday? Avengers Doomsday? Because, Dune's still there, man.
It's coming out the
Dune's still
same
there.
day. Yeah, that's right.
Yeah, still there.
So we're on Ant-Man. Oh. And sorry, we're recording at a different time, man. But yeah, we're on Ant-Man, and like I don't, I mean, you said you don't think this movie holds up very well. I think that it is
It's a cute movie to me. It's a cute movie.
Yeah, it's definitely like out of place, compared to some of the other hero movies, but that's kind of like what we needed. We needed a break in the formula.
I
And
liked it. I
yeah.
liked it, but it's the amount of like has decreased a little bit over the years. As you see, if in my look to my where it ranks now in the MCU, it's now on the bottom half, and it's not because it's a terrible movie. It's just didn't have the greatest ending, which I think really sticks with me. But the fact is, it's just like you said, it's just a smaller story in the larger pantheon of the MCU.
Yeah, I mean, even to this day, though, I'm still curious what Edgar Wright's original vision for Ant-Man would have been, because I know he like made over half the movie, and then he started to have like vision directors or conflicts with the studio, so he left the project and they brought somebody else in to finish it. I'm really curious what the rest of the movie would have looked like had he been allowed to stay in the director's chair for it.
Yeah, exactly, indeed. But as you and I both know, the fact that they think Ant-Man is beloved more by Marvel than I think by the community itself.
Yeah, that's a fair point. Yeah,
Because
definitely.
he's been put into so many storylines, and actually, I like Paul Rudd a lot as Ant-Man. I think he's a great Ant-Man. But you can tell by the box office numbers of Ant-Man and its following successors. Ant-Man 2 is the best of the three, by the way.
Yeah.
That's just my deal.
I didn't really like the third one.
No, 3 was horrible, but
Yeah.
the second one is actually pretty good. It's one of my more favorite. It's in the top half of MCU movies. I'll just put it that.
Yeah.
But with that said, you could tell just by the amount of money it's made over the years. Ant-Man has, and I know how integral Ant-Man has been to the entire. In fact, he's part of Avengers Doomsday, and just because of that. And I get it, I understand, but he is absolutely much more beloved by Marvel than the fan base, and I think the numbers bear that out.
Yeah, I think they probably just like working with
Paul
shoot,
Rudd?
Paul Rudd. Yes, I was a brain fart there. Yeah, I think they just like working with Paul Rudd. They kind of like throw him into any movie they want to kind of give it some comedic relief. Like I think Civil
The
War
orange
was
slices still stick out with me. So,
yeah,
yes.
right. And the Civil War, his part in there was funny, but when they did like the time travel pieces in was it in game, right? And he comes back, he goes, somebody peed my pants. Like that was one of the funniest lines I think I've ever seen in a Marvel movie.
So with that, my friend, again, it is a cute movie, Ant-Man, and I think obviously it's as a storyline or someone that can key and bring the story along. Obviously, the elements of the quantum realm and all that have been a part of what we've seen for the Avengers. So again, I appreciate for what it's worth, but we've had some hit and misses with Ant-Man. But the original Ant-Man, it's still a watch out there, and I'll give it that. But where are we headed next to on the MCU pantheon before we hand on out?
the dark horse that is Fantastic Four, the reboot, man. Not the one that came out most recently, the one with Miles Teller.
Okay, we're gonna go with that one next and talk about that one. Those are some dark times indeed.
Oh yeah.
So for Josh the Great Peterson, this is Gerald Glassford. It's another beautiful day in paradise right here in the pop culture cosmos. We thank you for listening. And here's hoping you have yourself a great day.
Welcome to the pop culture cosmos.